And we're getting some more breaking news on the broadcast. Now, Samajwadi Party leader Amit Jami has responded to the Popular Front of India ban, and he has said that by banning the PFI, government wants to threaten Muslims. That's the reaction that's come in by the Samajwadi Party.
सरकार दो काम करना चाहती है। एक तो ये है कि पूरे देश में महंगाई पर, किसानी पर, स्वास्थ्य पे, शिक्षा पे, डेवलपमेंट पे कोई चर्चा ना हो। दूसरा ये कि पूरे देश में इसके जरिए ध्रुवीकरण का काम 2024 के लिए किया जाए और इस देश में मुसलमानों को इसके जरिए डराने का, धमकाने का काम किया जाए। प्रधानमंत्री जी, आपसे तो पूरे देश में कोई डरता नहीं है, ना आपकी किसी पुलिस से कोई डरता है। सवाल यह है कि जो पूरे देश में युवाओं का, छात्रों का, शिक्षकों का, महिलाओं का, आंगनवाड़ियों का, किसानों का जो विद्रोह आपकी गलत नीतियों की वजह से चल रहा है, वो तो रुकने वाला नहीं है। तो 2024 का जो आपका सिंहासन है, उसको खाली करिए, जनता आगे बढ़ रही है।
My colleague Pranshu is now joining me on the broadcast. Pranshu, with reactions like what Mr. Amit Jami has just said, even the Muslim community will not be able to dissociate themselves from extremist organizations, even if they feel like. I mean, leaders need to exercise some kind of responsibility just for making a political statement. They just can't shoot from their mouth.
Yes, that's right. In fact, Amit Jami, I think he's trying to tread the middle line. He's not outrightly denouncing this ban on PFI, but he's trying to draw out the political rationals, or he's trying to make political allegations against BJP on this issue. So the argument from this, coming from Samajwadi Party leader, will not be acceptable for many. The reason being that, if PFI is involved in anti-national activities, it needs to be banned. Any organization who is involved in such activities, it needs to be banned. Now, trying to say that, this ban has been done with a political purpose, keeping an eye on 2024 elections, trying to create some sort of Islam-phobia or Muslim-phobia, and try and distract the national debate from other core issues, as the Samajwadi Party leader says. So I think this is an attempt on the part of the Samajwadi Party to try and play a middle ground on this entire issue. They are not ready to openly endorse and appreciate the government on this particular move, and therefore they are also trying to hit out the government by suggesting that there might be a political motive on the minds of BJP's top leadership behind imposing a ban on PFI. It's not just a simple case of PFI being involved in anti-terror activities, but a larger political narrative has gone behind imposing a ban on PFI.
All right. Let me actually bring in my guest, Dr. Verma, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Dr. Verma, we were just talking about the kind of political reactions that have come in ever since this ban really was announced by the government of India on the PFI. One argument that is a uniform argument with the opposition is why not ban outfits like the RSS, because that also is borderlining extremism.
I have been myself noticing, that there's a false equivalence being drawn between RSS and PFI. What I don't understand is that, the MHA notification has been pretty clear about the reason for indictment of PFI. So, you never see any RSS functionary involved in terrorist acts. So, there are documents that the government has supported while leading an action on the PFI that they can always go through. So I don't think, there is any linkage between global terror organizations like PFI has. So it's Cadre has joined ISIS. They've went on to conduct terror operations in different countries. Also, the Cadre has linkages with JMB, which is a Bangladesh-based extremist Islamic organization. And secondly, the money trail. If you look at the last 1 year and the activities of PFI, whether it is the hijab controversy or instances of violence in Kanpur or Karoli, there have been many times that money trail has been traced by the ED. And it's not just the NIA, which was the part of this action against PFI. ED was also involved, which has the expertise in tracing the money trails. And importantly, all these organizations which PFI consists of, the Campus Front of India and so on, have been receiving money on quite an active basis from abroad. So that needs to be taken into account. Drawing a false equivalence with RSS is not going to serve any purpose because
But
if
Dr.
these
Verma,
educators-
Dr. Verma, I mean, we have to look at the argument that the opposition also is making. We have seen how the RSS functionaries were involved in, let's say, blasts like the Nanded blast. Of course, it was proven, and that was something. If you do not call it a terrorist activity, then what is that? I mean, obviously, if we are looking at the Popular Front of India, we have to also see the other narrative. That's something that's also
if
only
disparate
reasonable.
But if disparate acts of political violence are a ground to call them terror organizations, then there are many, political parties that have indulged in indiscriminate violence. And I think the best example is the 2021 Bengal violence that took place. So I think there's a difference between political violence, which cannot be, can't be wished away in a political society like India. Although, as someone who believes in peace, I would really wish that politics becomes more mature and there is a more civilized dialogue. But political violence is a part of our society. We've seen on ground, how all the different political parties at one point or the other have been a part of such kind of violence.
All right.
But what differentiates PFI is that, it's linkages with the global terror nexus, and that's where it becomes an issue of not just political violence but also of national security. And just to complete my point, if at any point there are examples of any organizations, I don't want to take the names of these organizations, any organization, irrespective of whether it is a minority institution or it belongs to the majority or whatever, if such incrementing evidence does come to light, I would request the law and order mechanism to please ban them as well.
Absolutely.
Because, living in India, we can't be, on one hand, we want to be the third largest economy by the turn of this decade. And then we are still, grappling with issues like violence in the names of religion. So I don't think, as a civilized person and as a core liberal, I would ever support something like that.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Verma, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and giving us your expert opinion on all that has happened after this ban on the Popular Front of India was announced. Let me take this across to my colleague Ritu, who's also joining us live on the broadcast. Ritu,